Welcome, my 9 subscribers, my single-digit viewers, everyone on Wrestling Reddit, including the Noah GHC one that downvoted my video. Also, welcome to everyone from the sub for sub, like for like, comment for comment pages, and everyone on Wrestling Amino that watches my shit, and basically everyone I force my videos upon. Welcome to my review of Dream On by Pro Wrestling Noah, Night 3. Let's begin. First of all, I'm surprised and pleased with the location of the show. It's still in the Yokohama Radiant Hall in Kanagawa, the same building that they used for the Innovation Show that I thoroughly enjoyed. So I just like to reiterate something I stated in a previously less viewed video, that I love these type of shows. Everything feels more personal. The seats are bigger than in the bigger shows, than in like Wrestle Kingdom. They're also socially distanced. Everything like here is very clean, especially like in Japan. And there's the small chance of being dived on by the wrestlers, getting in contact with the wrestlers. It's like pretty dangerous, but fun as well. So the first match is between Yohei and Extreme Tiger versus the Young Lion team of Alejandro and Haoh. And as we remember from the last show, from the Innovation, Haoh won a fucking match. He got the pinfall on my boy Tadasuke. Great win for Haoh, but these two are further up the card. There was no way Haoh was gonna win this one. But for the match itself, it's like these guys were just phoning it in. They performed better in the Innovation show. There was like parts where there was minimal contact in their strikes. And there was a lot of parts where the luchadors, Alejandro and Extreme Tiger, had some very, very obvious mistimings. They also had like one or two unnecessary flips here. It's like comparable to when Johnny Elite did a cartwheel clothesline on Samoa Joe. It's like that. But near the end, they do find their timing. Stuff hits more, and they're a lot more synced up, basically. Spot of the match is this sort of diving move, this sort of like flipping diving move that Extreme Tiger does, where he ends up falling like ass first or like thighs first on Alejandro, and Alejandro just like sells it because it looks like it does hurt. Like there was no protection here. Alejandro went like ooh, like that, but like louder. So the finish is the standard. Extreme Tiger counters a lariat from Alejandro, and then he does his vertebraker facebuster finisher, and then he and Yohei pose in the ring with their cool pose, and then they leave. So this match just had a lot of like missed timings early. It didn't look good, but in the later half, it does pick up, and it was okay. Average TV match. Match number 2 is Michael Elgin versus Rene Dupree. And for this one, they wrestled a slow pace, like according to their size. They pretty much had a test of strength the entire match, and everything they did was high impact. From the strikes to the slams, basically these are two mechas right here. And I have a problem with the finish because at one point in the match, like in the middle, these guys go outside. They almost start fighting there, but they do a stare down, and then Elgin like points to the ring. They sort of agree to keep the match in the ring, and then they go back inside. But for the finish, Elgin clotheslines Dupree to the outside, and then they fight until they're counted out. So these guys weren't disabled in any way. They weren't selling limbs. They weren't knocked out. They just like stood around and hit each other with like their faculties intact. They're not even like in a berserker state, because sometimes matches end with one competitor like going insane and kicking everyone's ass. But here they are fully conscious, fighting until they're counted out, and that's fucking dumb. like they could hear loudly the count out. The ring is right beside them. They can enter whenever they want, but instead they take the double count out, and that's such a stupid finish. Such a stupid finish. Count outs only work if you're like disabled, you're knocked out, or you're too far away from the ring. Like, Or like another wrestler comes in and sort of draws your attention somewhere. But yeah, this was dumb. The match was getting good actually, but just that finish ruined it for me. And then they have this fierce stare down in the ring. Like, you guys could have just finished the fight. The ring. You guys were in contact with the ring the whole time you were being counted out. I don't understand this, but if the match later, if the Dr. Wagner versus Masaki Tamiya match ends the same way as this, I'm gonna be pissed off. Match number 3 is a 10-man tag team match between KONGOH, so that's Katsuhiko Nakajima, Kenoh, High 69, Tadasuke, and Hajime Ohara, versus the team of Daisuke Harada, Atsushi Kotoge, Yoshiki Inamura, Junta Miyawaki, and Kinya Okada. So from the start of the match, Kenoh and Nakajima, two of the 4 pillars of the company, are in one of the teams. So you know who's going to win. Like, you can even feel this in the match itself. Whenever Nakajima and Kenoh are in the ring, they dominate their opponent. This is true for 4 out of their 5 opponents. Even Yoshiki Inamura, the largest man in the match, had a bit of trouble with facing off against these 2 dudes, but he managed to get some moves in. But the power levels in this match were clearly established during the kicking exchanges. So basically, just one kick from Kenoh or Nakajima can like put anyone down on the floor, even Inamura. And it takes about 3 to put Nakajima and Kenoh down. And I like this sort of power level gauging. So I was very interested to see when Daisuke Harada faces off against Kenoh and Nakajima, since he is their top junior heavyweight, but that doesn't happen the entire match, and I was disappointed. But they do tell some nice stories in the ring. So I like the part where Nakajima and Kenoh take turns in like working over Kotoge's arm right in front of his corner. This one was really funny here. I also like that Tadasuke was characterized as the team's flashiest, but most likely to let them down. Like when Kenoh tagged him in, he just went for the pin right away. He didn't even do a move. He also does the cocky pin and this highly telegraphed setup for a running attack that he fails to hit. That actually cost him the match against Haoh in Innovation. I also like how the leader of the team, Kenoh, the leader of KONGOH, isn't opposed to or doesn't see himself above his underlings too much, that he won't join these silly poses that they do. I hope they did the one where Tadasuke climbs up the dude from behind, but this one here was enough. The best performer here was Daisuke Harada. He was the most economic with his time in the ring. Like, he did the most things while he was there, as he can. And he did have some engagements with Nakajima, but like it's not really like prolonged, like they're both the legal men. You can't really gauge the power levels if Nakajima has been the legal man and has wasted energy while Daisuke Harada was fresh the entire match when he was tagged in. But yeah. So the finish of the match is Junta Miyawaki trying to do a suplex on Ohara. When Ohara counters, he does a backbreaker, like the Carlito backbreaker. And then he tags in Nakajima. Nakajima goes for the PK. And this is a weird part right here because Okada like didn't sell the move. He just like laid down and then remembered he had to sell it. So Nakajima does the brutality kick for the win. This was a great above average TV match, like top tier TV matches. I'm just disappointed that Harada didn't face off with the 2 leaders of KONGOH. Fourth match is Kaito Kiyomiya versus Simon Gotch, and I just like to point out before the match starts, Gotch does this weird like sit on the second turnbuckle, and I tried to do this on my chair sometimes, and it just like it hurts my knees so much that I feel like it's gonna tear my ACLs. But this starts with an uncharacteristic handshake that is sort of against Gotch's character ever since I've seen him here in Noah. He's supposed to be this sadistic sort of Suzuki-like character who relishes in the pain that he causes using submissions. But here he shakes someone's hand. I mean, this is the dude who licked Kinya Okada. He shouldn't be shaking hands with the babyface of all babyfaces in the company right here in Kiyomiya. So this match starts out as a ground-based, a mat-based technical wrestling match with some innovative moves from Gotch. But they do this thing where Gotch is like between Kiyomiya's legs. He's not locked in or anything. They're like near the ropes, and then they do this sort of stare down where Gotch is reclined on the second rope while Kiyomiya is still seated. If the crowd were only allowed to do cheers or something here, if they were only allowed to make vocal sounds, this would have had a great reaction. Or if the crowd was American, they would have cheered for this. But no. No cheers here, just silence. It was a bit awkward. But what comes after is maybe one of the most innovative escapes from a head scissors I've ever seen, because Gotch like hooks Kiyomiya's leg, his left leg, with his own, and then he tiptoes to the side and opens up the legs to free his head. And then Gotch turns him around and does this weird sequence that I'll just show you. And then he goes for the pinfall, this very, very unique pin right here. The second part of the match is where we get the harder attacks, we get harder strikes, and we get the more high-impact moves. So like right after Simon Gotch does his draping European uppercut and then dropkick to the outside combo, and Kiyomiya beats the 10 count, we get the higher impact stuff. So fisherman suplexes, missile dropkicks, but then Gotch does this unsanitary as fuck slap where he licks his hand and then slaps Kiyomiya with it, like spreading COVID all over the place. And then it's nice to see continuity because Kiyomiya beat Gotch with the Tiger Suplex in the Innovation Show, and here, Gotch tries to do it, but he can't. Also, Kiyomiya tries to do it, but Gotch has it scouted. He has eaten the move recently, he has lost to it, so he's not gonna fall for it again. Instead, Kiyomiya counters the Gotch-style pile driver with an armbar and then a cattle mutilation for the submission win. So this is now, from here, the best match of the card. It feels like an upper card match in a pay-per-view. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. And I love how loudly Gotch is still selling even as he's leaving the arena. Nice stuff here. For the next match on the card, I complained about how this didn't make sense, but it turned out that that was a typo from the company. I didn't make the mistake. I mean, like, it clearly said at the time that the match was going to be between the team of HAYATA, Yoshinari Ogawa, and Chris Ridgeway versus Saiki Yoshioka, Yuya Susumu, and Kai Fujimura, but finally we get the correction. HAYATA and Kai Fujimura switch places, which made more sense. So now it's HAYATA, Yuya Susumu, Saiki Yoshioka versus Yoshinari Ogawa, Chris Ridgeway, and Kai Fujimura. Finally, this made sense. So we start off with Yoshioka and Ogawa. And as usual, Yoshioka, the fastest, most botch-free, and most crisp junior heavyweight in the division, beats the shit out of Ogawa. Like, he takes control early until he goes for a diving move, and then Ogawa basically low blows him. And Ogawa wasn't disqualified by the ref, or at least get a warning. Susumu is dressed awesomely, but he doesn't show the same skill as Saiki does, but it's alright. I mean, not everyone can be that way. And with what he can do, he did a pretty bang-up job in this match. And as for Hayata, the same way. He's the power junior type, and he performed well in this match. But we didn't get much offense from the opposing team. Like, Ogawa barely did any damage. And whenever he was in the ring, he was like getting beaten up. And as for Fujimura, he gets beaten up the majority of the time he's in the ring, but he does more offense than Ogawa does. As for the story of the match, I think it's Stinger domination because this other team here barely did anything. Two of its members were pretty useless in the match, like in kayfabe, while Ridgeway like carried them. He took the least damage and dished out the most. So most of the match, this Stinger team here just beat up Fujimura and Ogawa. They managed to get the hot tag to Chris Ridgeway, but he fades out and he tags out, and his teammates get beaten up some more until Ogawa, the veteran, like probably the mentor to these guys in the locker room, he tries to cheat by hitting Saiki Yoshioka in the back of the head with the championship, causing the DQ, and that's the end of the match. It's a DQ, but it's a well-told story to get there, because this other team couldn't do shit. So yeah, they had to cheat in order to not have a decisive finish. And then we get some post-match storytelling where the pissed-off Saiki Yoshioka, who won by DQ, takes revenge on Ogawa. They set him up to be hit by the title, but HAYATA stops them. This is confusing, but it's really good storytelling here. I think what they're trying to get across is HAYATA just wants all of them to be a team again. So he sides with the champions, even if he does aesthetically match Yoshioka and Susumu more. And there's no audible dialogue here, but from what I gather, it's like HAYATA is just saying, come on guys, I have my own shit to deal with. I'm gonna face Extreme Tiger tomorrow, and it's probably gonna be a hard match, I think. He keeps telling me that he sees me, and his boys are probably gonna be there to, back him up. Like the Luchador team. I need you guys to be a team again, so sort your shit out tomorrow, because this match is just over. We beat their asses the whole match. They had no chance that they had to cheat to end it, and not end it cleanly. Come on. Susumu and Yoshioka, chill. You'll get your shot tomorrow. I'm out. So basically, HAYATA just flip-flopped his loyalties. I believe they're going to be a team again. There's going to be an embrace at the end of the tag team match, with Ogawa and Ridgeway retaining. But that's just me. Okay, so second to the last match is sort of the second half to the tag team title feud. So a while ago, we had Dupree versus Elgin, while here we have Dr. Wagner Jr.'s son versus Masa Kitamiya. And you know what? This might be a controversial opinion to some Noah fans, but Masa Kitamiya ain't no main eventer. Because Wagner Jr.'s son, he works on Kitamiya's leg for 4 minutes or 5 minutes. Kitamiya manages to get his offense off, but this is all Wagner Jr. He does this throughout the entire match as well. He targets the leg. But Masa Kitamiya has too much adrenaline moments. He doesn't sell on offense, and he doesn't sell his leg as much as I want. But when he's in submission moves, he does yell his lungs off. He does convey pain very well. Because if you watched the old AJPW matches, how the big men sold there, hell, if you just watched the Rey Fenix versus Kyle O'Reilly match, or the Saiki Yoshioka versus Chris Ridgeway match, they sell on offense. What Masa does here does not compare. He does wrestle his size very well, but yeah, that's about it. I think he'll do very well as Michael Elgin's sidekick. But Dr. Wagner Jr.'s son here is next level amazing. This guy's a main eventer, and he's young as well. He's 30. He does some really cool stuff, but he could have put some more force in those strikes. That's just my problem with him, but he does a lot of cool stuff. There's this one funny part where he telegraphs that he's gonna work on Kitamiya's leg on the corner. He has his leg up, and then he pokes him in the eyes. And then the ref talks to him. He agrees with the ref. He says sorry and such. But then he goes back and does it again. Nice subtle comedy here. And he does this sick looking adjustment outside dive where Kitamiya moves out of the way, but then Wagner Jr.'s son transitions mid-air and then jumps outside. This is what juniors or cruiserweight level luchadors do, but this man is doing it here as a heavyweight. So for the finish of the match, After working on Masa's leg more, Dr. Wagner's grandchild, he like does three successive leg drop kicks, two of which that Masa sells very well. But then the third one, he just drops, and then Wagner's grandchild does an STF for the submission finish. This was an average TV match. I just had a problem with Masa's selling. He didn't sell enough. Like, I know about big dudes not selling to smaller dudes, but like Wagner Jr. is taller than him. He might not be as thick, but he works on his leg for like the whole match. And like he doesn't sell it all the way. And he has too many of these adrenaline moments. Before someone gets pissed at me about Masaki Tamiya's selling here, just watch the Phoenix versus O'Reilly match on Dynamite. Come on. Phoenix sells it even while doing his like usual stuff. He sells it on offense. That's like my big rule here. You have to sell it on offense to like be a 5 out of 5. So yeah, nice average TV match. And then we get a post-match stare down between the champs and Elgin and Kiyomiya. And yeah, this gets me excited. So for the main event, we have Naomichi Marufuji and Satoshi Kojima versus Daiki Inaba and Pro Wrestling Noah made man himself, the human form of Noah. This man enters in Misawa colors all the time. There's no hiding it. And also, he's the GHC heavyweight champion. He's Go Shiozaki. So this match here is the main event that I wanted for the previous shows. Because the right person took the pin and not the champion. Everyone performed very well. Like, we have these storylines in the match. Like, Go Shiozaki can't wait to get his hands on Satoshi Kojima. So instead of breaking up a pinfall that Marufuji has on Inaba, Shiozaki goes straight at Kojima. He doesn't even care about winning. And then we have the machine gun chops on the corner. Both of these guys have similar arsenals, so both of these guys try to one-up each other. They do the machine gun chops on each other in succession. The last notable bit of awesome storytelling in this match is the lariats. They both do lariats on each other because it's their finisher, so they do it on each other and then Go falters. Kojima won this time. We'll see what happens in Cyberfight. The chop fights are always awesome, but here we get to see Marufuji and Shiozaki go at it. And holy shit, Marufuji has to use his entire body. Like, you can see it. He has to like move his entire body to make dents on Go, while Go just does his usual motion. This was a nice chop exchange here. I want to see it in an actual singles match between the two. I wouldn't be opposed to a feud between these two right after Cyberfight. And as for Daiki Inaba, this guy does the conventional grappling, like in their team. Go mostly strikes. He's saving it up for Cyberfight. And actually, you know what? Inaba kinda does most of the grappling in this entire match. He also takes most of the damage, and he takes the pin. So the finish of the match is Daiki Inaba, after engaging in a strike fight with Kojima, does the running lariat, but is like lariated himself by standing Kojima for the pin. So Kojima, being the one who got the pinfall, he ends the night with a promo, progressing his feud with Go Shiozaki. They have this stare down, they keep it respectful. There are no like cheap shots or attacks here, they just like stare down. So overall, this was a good Pro Wrestling Noah show. It progressed some stories, and we also have like 5 out of the 7 matches being good. The match of the night being Kiyomiya versus Gotch. A close second is the main event, and third is the 10-man tag team match. While the first 2 matches in the show weren't that good. Like, the Dupree versus Elgin looked like it was going somewhere, but that ending ruined it. And that first match between Extreme Tiger and Yohei versus Haoh and Alejandro, it was just filled with too many botches, miscommunications, mistimings to be considered average. That's from a match quality standpoint, but in terms of the booking, I mean, as a fan, this was booked better than Dream on Night 1 because the right person took the pin in the main event, with the right person getting the pin. We also had singles matches between the competing teams for the Tag Team Championships, which I think is a good way to build up a feud. And then the Stinger Civil War. It's getting interesting with Hayata flipping sides between his boys. He's just trying to keep the peace. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That is my review of Dream On Night 3. Please like, comment, and subscribe for engagement. It helps the channel. And hit that bell notification for updates to future videos. And yeah, bye-bye.